You started with a drink in your hand? Okay. Hey guys.
Hey guys.
Welcome back to Plots with a Twist,
where we discuss books.
amongst other things. And what are we doing today?
We are comparing Little Fires Everywhere, the book, to Little Fires Everywhere, starring Reese Witherspoon and Kerry Washington, the show. So,
Let's get into it. All right, so this is going to be like a series. We're going to try to do a few of these. So we're going to call it, what did we decide? Read to Real?
Read to Real.
Read to Real. So each time we're going to do different formatting, play around with formatting. Of course, we'll take you guys' suggestions and everything. But yeah, we just wanted to get in there and start.
And this is a good one to start with because it's a good show and a good book.
Yes. For this particular book, we're just going to go into 5 of the major differences we noticed between the show versus the book that really impacted the overall story.
Yeah.
But first, we're going to get into, just if you never read or saw the show, just what it's all about. So, Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng, right? So it came out a few years ago. We read it roughly last year, and it's about the Richardson family. It's specifically ELENA Richardson. She's married, has 4 kids, and they're like well-to-do in the town of Shaker Heights. Oh, is it in Ohio? In the town of Shaker Heights, which is basically like this pitch perfect town that is perfectly planned out. Everyone that lives there has some get up and go about them and everything like that. In enters Mia and Pearl. Mia's a single mother raising her 15-year-old daughter Pearl, and they live basically like nomads. They travel everywhere. Mia's an artist, and basically they go from home to home, city to city, town to town, just living off of the bare minimum, basically.
Yeah, very much minimal lifestyle.
So the story and the show basically goes into the collision of both of these families, intertwining their lives together. The Richardsons are all drawn to Pearl and Mia for various reasons, and they go into different reasons why. But everything comes to a head when there's this custody battle over this infant child. Elena's best friend has adopted the girl, or in the process of adopting her. Mia has a relationship with the mom through one of her odd jobs at a Chinese restaurant, and tells the mother about her whereabouts. So there ensues this drawn out legal battle between and both moms, Elena and Mia, have chosen sides, as well as the kids. They've chosen particular sides. So the overall goings on is very much like the title suggests. It's little fires everywhere, little turmoils everywhere, and yeah, that's pretty much the drawn out synopsis of the two. So let's get into just the major differences that we noticed between the two.
Okay, so one of the major differences that I noticed between the actual book and the book and the TV show, and this is out of order, we're not going to go in like chronological order of the story, but one of the major differences was the relationship between Izzy and her mom Elena. So in particular, in the book, you can tell that Izzy is not Elena's favorite child just because she is the child that gives Elena the most trouble. You know, she's the one that is always fighting back, or, you know, that child is always questioning everything, while all her other children kind of like just are very smooth, you know, get good grades and just do what they're supposed to. And Izzy's like the wild child. And in the book, that's apparent, but in the show, it's very much like, I feel like times 10.
Right, like button heads.
Yeah, so much so that at the end of the spoiler, at the end of the show, when everything kind of comes to a head for Elena and her children, her and Izzy get into an argument. She tells Izzy that she never wanted her. Like, who says that as a mom to the child? So, and that just like takes Izzy aback, takes all her siblings aback. It's just like, girl, what? And I just felt like that, and that didn't happen that particular scene didn't happen in the book. So I just felt like that was a major difference, and just I guess want to be more intense, I guess, as far as like all the relationships, because like we said, in the book it is you know, they have a strained relationship. And the show is just very much explosive. Like, all their tension just explodes on the screen. So, how did you feel about that?
Yes. So, like Asia said, their relationship is strained in the book, but not as strained as it is in the show. I think there's more resentment present in the show than in the book, because it wasn't really that ELENA didn't want IZZY in the book. It was more so she was unexpected. She was unplanned. She didn't fall into her perfect plan of the 3 kids, you know, and everything. And she gave her the most trouble. So that was one thing. But also, it was very highlighted in the book that IZZY had this spirit and this fire that ELENA kind of wished she had, or that she had at one point but lost. And I don't think they emphasized that enough in the show. It just seemed like in the show is very much, this is just my problem child, versus it being, okay, I admire her from afar, but I still want her to fall in line. So, yeah, I didn't too much care for how they made it this really, really strained, like, just like Asia said, very explosive relationship versus it's just being settled. I mean, I don't mind it, but at the same time, it's just like, it just was really messed up and really led to the ultimate decision of IZZY to, like, spoiler leave. And there'll be various spoilers throughout. I forgot. So yeah, I definitely agree. I've noticed that as well. I didn't too much care for it. I know it made for good TV, but it was just kind of like really messed up.
Yeah, it was messed up.
All right. So the second thing we noticed that was a huge, we felt like was a huge deference. Is that the word I'm looking for?
I think so. I don't know.
Deviation. A huge deviation from the source material. Look at me.
Not source material.
From the source material. It is Mia's sexuality.
Yes.
So basically in the book, Mia is very much, Pearl is her everything. Like, she doesn't really show that she's had any real intimate relationships, and none are really highlighted. And she's pretty much a virgin the whole time, as far as we know in the book, because when she even conceived Pearl, it was through if you've watched or read the book, you know, it was through a turkey baster basically method. So she never really had any real intimate connections in the book, but in the show, girl, they made Mia basically pansexual. She was in love with her mentor, but also she, you know, had sex with, as Pearl put it in the show, anyone and everyone she wants, you know. So I don't know, it didn't, I actually prefer in the book how it kind of could skew her idea of relationships, the fact that she didn't have an intimate relationship versus her having all these just, what do you call them, like hookups or whatever. It was just like an abundance of sexual energy coming from Mia, just to kind of like as an escape. Like, she used sex as an escape versus she had so many other things in the book where she used her escapism was her art. So I don't think they really highlighted that enough, but at the same time, you know, it's just a preference of, do you like the absence of intimacy or the abundance of intimacy? I don't know. So what did you think about Mia's whole sexual vibe?
Yeah, that was a major difference because like you said, in the book, the fact that Mia never had any intimate relationships, that kind of made it kind of, to the reader, made it seem like, okay, well, that's how she's able to like move around and just kind of live so freely, because she doesn't know how it is to be like close to people or you know, have intimate relationship with people, so she can just, you know, kind of move that way. And like you said, she puts that, what she would put into a relationship, into her art and things. Whereas in the show, it's like, okay, so what is kind of her motivation? Well, her motivation for moving around and stuff is running from, you know, the truth about Pearl, where she got Pearl and stuff. So I guess that that is the same thing, but it kind of, I don't know, it just gives a different reasoning as to like why she lives her life the way she does in the book versus the TV show, because of what the role her sexuality kind of plays into it. But I didn't mind it in this show. It was cool or whatever. But it was a big difference, and I kind of wonder why they decided to make such a stark difference between her character in the book and the show. But it was cool. It was all right. Mm-hmm. The next major difference that we noticed between the show and the book was that in the book, Mia and Pearl, their relationship as mother and daughter, they seem more lovingly toward each other in the book than in the show. In the show, they are kind of like, as a teenage daughter and mom duo would probably do. They bump heads a lot, and Pearl just seems very ungrateful for the type of life that she has. Whereas in the book, as in the book, she kind of is like, it's not like she kind of understands why her mom lives the way that she does, and she doesn't come off as so ungrateful, like, I don't want this, I never want to live like this, like how she does in the show. That girl is over it. She wants to live like her friends and her peers now. So yeah, that was one aspect about Mia and Pearl that we noticed was kind of different from the book to the TV show. And also the fact that Mia and Pearl are black in the show, and they never like say outright, but the way they're described, they're white in the book. So that was like a huge difference. And it kind of played a big part because, race has a lot to do with a lot of the issues in the TV show, if you've seen it, between the two families, just like the difference, like class differences, and then the race part of it, where they didn't have that dynamic in the book. What'd you think about them changing those? So that's a major thing to change.
So yeah, I think, well, first on Pearl and Mia's relationship overall, I just felt like Pearl was a little bit more understanding and a little bit more lighthearted when it came to certain things and certain aspects of her mom, which is why I think the Richardson kids was so drawn to Pearl, because she was so like starkly different from them versus her trying to be like them. Like in certain ways, of course, throughout the book, there was moments of influence, but overall, Pearl was just this something that was not privileged, not, can make whatever, resourceful, just very kind of had a close bond with her mom, which none of the Richardson kids really had, even though they were somewhat close and she cared for them. But it wasn't on a level that, Mia and Pearl had. So I think in the book, it was more highlighted that the desire on, like, I'm looking at Pearl, she has a great life, and Pearl looking at them, like, okay, that would be nice to settle down, versus it just being so angsty and so,
very much
you never did, and that was my money, and it was very, very much like just, don't talk to me, don't, and it was like, girl, you got here for 2 seconds, and you already feeling yourself, no.
Yeah.
So that was, that was a huge difference, because that kind of opened the box for other moments to happen that were different than the book. But yes, race was a big component in the show. So them changing race of Mia and Pearl brought up a lot of conversation, brought up a lot of things, brought up a lot of moments that were necessary, because ultimately the overall, both the book and the show is about identity, and race is a huge defining factor in your identity. So I think it just kind of better explained some of the, as Carrie Washington said in the show, what'd she say? You didn't make choices, you were given choices,
okay.
So
privileged tease.
So right, or you had choices, like you weren't given choices, you had whatever. She said something like that, but basically it further built up that the discrepancies or the differences between the two moms, that it just wasn't about class and money and just a different lifestyle. It was also about just the choices that were even available to them, which were vastly different because of race.
Because of race, right? Okay.
So another thing that we noticed that was a major difference is the reveal of Pearl's origin. So as
Pearl came from.
Right. So of course Elena did the legwork to find out what happened and who Mia was, and you know, who does she think she is.
She couldn't take Mia.
Yeah, she was just in the book. It was more curiosity versus it being like, I'm out to find out what I can about this woman of the show. But basically,
No, I feel like she still was like that in the book too.
but yeah, her even initially looking her up was more so because Izzy asked her to.
It was like,
But-
well, let me see what's going on with this lady.
Right. She was just being nosy.
She was being nosy, but she was trying to hide it, but as something else.
Right. So of course you get Mia's backstory and how she even had Pearl. So Elena did plan to, I think, weaponize that information, but in the show she actually did. So she did tell Pearl her origin, how she came about, and pretty much caused more of a rift between Mia and Pearl. Whereas in the book, that information, I believe it came from Mia, right?
I think so.
Maybe we should have looked that up.
Correct us if we're wrong below. I don't know.
Yeah, correct us if we're wrong, but I think Mia told her, you know, most of the information or whatnot. So yes, it cost her some. She was upset and, you know, came to terms with it. But in the show, it's just like boom, bam. Oh, you already was tripping about that money. Then now this, now that, and it just seemed like thing on top of thing on top of thing. Why this rift was happening in their relationship. So Elena was very much the source of that in the show versus in the book. So how'd you feel about that reveal? I didn't like it.
I didn't like it either.
I was like, you tripe, Reese. You tripe.
See, yeah, she was just so much more tripe in the book than
in the show.
In the show than in the book. And this was one of those moments. She had several moments, but that was definitely one of those moments. She was just like, girl, like, why are you doing all of that? It just became. That's the thing in the show. It just became this rivalry between Mia and Elena that was just, and it was there in the book too. But it was I feel like it was for different reasons in the show. And being that race plays such a big part in it, it makes you like, cause not that you felt that Elena was racist,
but it just
but
seemed
it's just
like
like,
it was
girl, you're
coming
just
from
so unaware,
right.
like you just don't know like what you're talking about, type of thing. But anyway, how did I feel about her telling that to Pearl? Yeah, it just wasn't nice. I could see why. I wasn't surprised, just because of how the projection and stuff in the show and how things were going for like Elena, and she was just doing everything she could to kind of like mess up Mia's whatever she had going on. So I wasn't surprised that she did it, but it was just like, girl,
stay in your lane.
Yeah, it was just like you're just doing stuff, and that's why your husband gonna be mad at you because you're doing too much.
Right.
So yeah.
All right, and what was the last major thing you noticed?
The last major difference that I noticed between the book and the show for Little Fires was who actually started the little fires all in their house that burnt down
The Richardson's home.
the Richardson's home. And in the book, Izzy starts the fire. Izzy lights the fire. She lights it on fire, and she gets the heck out of town. But in the show, it comes in a moment where Elena's getting into it with her kids, and she tells Izzy that she never wanted her, and then the rest of her kids start getting upset, and her other daughter, I forget her name in a moment. What's her name? Lexi's telling her like how she doesn't want to be perfect anymore. She can't do this, she can't do that, and her kids are they're just fed up with, I don't know, their life and their mom wanting them to be whatever. So, you know, Izzy, she starts by taking the gasoline and pouring it around, but her siblings stop her. And then once they kind of like, I don't know, they get to thinking or get to arguing with their mom some more, they're like, you know what? Izzy had the right idea. Let's burn this down. So they start taking it everywhere, whatever, and then light the kids. They light all the stuff on fire. And then they eventually get their mom out of the house, but Izzy still leaves, and that stays the same. So yeah, I don't know. I guess it makes it like more like symbolic for the other kids to kind of join in and burn the house down too. Cause it's like, yeah, we getting rid of all this, like shedding this perfect life, this so-called perfect life we have, and we're not even perfect, whatever. So I guess that's why they changed it. It didn't really change the outcome of the story too much, but I think that in the book, being that Izzy was the one that solely started the fire herself. It was kind of like a moment for her, and just kind of like getting away from that family. But with the rest of the children starting it too, kind of brings them into it as well. So how'd you feel about that change?
Yeah, I think because everything was so intense throughout the show, as far as everyone's relationship and colliding and clashing here and there. I think I actually didn't mind it, because I think that allowed ELENA, like versus the book, ELENA kind of came to terms with who she was earlier than the fire was set. I think her seeing the fire in the show allowed her to come to terms, like, I did this.
Yeah.
I did this. So
what she felt.
which she took responsibility to the, like, fire chief or whatever. She said she started it. But so I didn't mind that. It gave more of a visualization for the viewer as well as ELENA to be like, you know what? I'm jacked up.
Yeah, this is
so. Yeah, I wasn't too mad at it. I did like in the book, Izzy having her little moment, like, right. I'm the rule breaker, I'm the rebel. But I guess she didn't need that in the show, because she showed that so much throughout the series of the show that you didn't really need her to have that moment. She had so many other moments. So that was cool. And then it also, we talked about it before, but it also gave each character their own resolve. Versus in the book, some of the things are left open, or they're kind of having their resolve mentally, versus we're going to lash out and burn it down because we need to start over as well. So yeah, I didn't mind it, but yeah, that is a major thing that kind of influenced the overall story. So yeah. So that's pretty much it. It's a whole bunch that's different, actually. Yeah. We just didn't want to bore you guys with, like, I mean, you probably wouldn't have been bored, because we would still keep it cute. But we just didn't want to keep talking for like a lengthy video.
Periodically time. But if anything else that you guys noticed that we didn't get to, feel free to, start a little dialogue in the comments. I'm pretty sure it's some stuff that we missed or haven't even thought about that was different from the book and the show. So yeah. But like we said, this is going to be a little series, so look forward to more videos like this coming soon.
Like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell. All right, well, we'll go ahead and get out of here until next time.
Bye.
Bye, guys.